Let's see, Sam, are you around? You around today?
I'm here in body, but I'm not quite sure in spirit. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
After Boxing Day, you need a little HGH to get over that HDH. You know what I'm saying? A little human
Mm.
growth hormone to help with that high divide hangover, and I'm certainly feeling that way right now.
I ate so much high divide this past, I guess yesterday.
Well, I think there's a reason they call it dry January, not dry December, because the holidays, they can be a stressful time and also a time of celebration. And if there's two things that amp up my craving for high divide, it's both happiness and depression. Apparently I've got some work updates here for the
Okay.
project. I got a metric to unveil, but then we can go over Boxing Day traditions, Boxing Day memories, really get into the festive spirit.
Okay. All right. Let's I'll hand it off to you for some stuff we did this past week then.
We're really coming into the final stretch. We finalized some models. Don't want to bore you with all of that, but there was one specific part of the project we've talked about in the past that I wanted to provide an update on, and that's this optimal path component of our project. And we were doing some work estimating a player's speed. We were looking at the results. We found that our estimates of player speeds, given each tenth of a second, were too simplistic. We were basically allowing a player to continue to accelerate to their max speed in a fairly even way without taking a bunch of context into the equation. Context can be things like the direction and momentum the player had at a certain point in time. So they can't just instantaneously switch directions and then still move at an accelerating speed. There's a required adjustment there, like a penalization factor for recalibrating your direction, losing that momentum, and then trying to gain it back again. Obviously, weather has an effect, and then players are going to get tired throughout the game and throughout the drive, and really looking at also the effort they exerted. So they may have had 20 plays thus far, but exerted less effort than somebody else who's had 20 plays but had to make a few tackles, a few, chase down a wide receiver on a deep route, something like that. So what we needed was something more nuanced, more complicated for the specific players. We needed to provide something that was going to give us continuous changes and updates and contextualize a player's speed, because a player's speed is really what dictates the ability to define an optimal path. If you don't know how fast an object can move, you don't know how quickly they can get to a certain location. So, with that, I want to unveil a metric our team has come up with. It's just a component of this project, but it's really going to be important for defining that optimal path. So we'll see that metric on the next slide. So we call this continuously updating sliding speed yields, or CUSI for short. A player's CUSI dictates the speed at which a player can move within our model for a given tenth of a second. So given the contextual factors, a player moves up and down their CUSI curve um, in a way that dictates how fast they can move on basically their next round or their next tenth of a second. We think CUSI is going to provide the proper context for developing this optimal path, and that CUSI is quite important and an integral component to our project. So you will be seeing, as we define our optimal path in our project, players' CUSI curves, if you will. And so right here, I've got an example. We've got Travis Kelce and Bobby Okeriki's CUSI curve, and they're in different points of their CUSI curve because of their different contextual factors at that point in time. And if Bobby Okereke needs to maybe change his direction a little bit, he'll slide down the CUSI curve, or if he continues to run straight and accelerate, he'll go up to his max potential on the CUSI curve.
Yeah, no notes. No, well, a lot of notes. I guess, actually none.
I think we're seeing the future of NFL analytics.
I think so too.
I think now that we've got work out of the way, I want to tell everybody about my my Boxing Day plans today, and I'm not in Indianapolis actually. I'm spending some time with family up in Port Clinton, Ohio, which is in northern Ohio, and I want to share a special local Boxing Day tradition to Port Clinton, Ohio.
Okay.
Obviously, Boxing Day is not really a well known American holiday. Many people don't know its origin, really what it's about at all. And so they can misconstrue the meaning of Boxing Day into something else. Well, in rural northern Ohio, Boxing Day to some literally quite meant a day to box one another. There is a African safari up in Port Clinton, Ohio that has kangaroos, and I don't know when this tradition started. Some say it started in the 70s or 80s, but invariably somebody's drunk uncle or multiple drunk uncles on Christmas Day would claim that they could beat up the kangaroo at the safari. And so, as a way to raise money for this struggling zoo, they came up with a brilliant marketing plan where relatives could sign their drunk uncles up to fight on Boxing Day the next day. And so the town would come together on the 26th. Zufari would charge admission. You could bring your satchel of Haidavai. And all the drunk uncles who made these bombastic proclamations the day before had to live out their tough guy talk by fighting kangaroos and getting their asses absolutely handed to them. So, it's a fun little tradition. We get to see the loudmouth uncles of the town get beat by red kangaroos. Everybody gets to have fun, and hence Port Clinton, Ohio's Boxing Day tradition was born. So that's what I did for my Boxing Day. There were 7 matchups this year, 7 uncles dumb enough to proclaim that they could beat up a kangaroo. And yeah, not a single one of them made it to the second round. They got absolutely their asses handed to them, and it was quite entertaining. It's a great family-friendly tradition in Port Clinton, Ohio.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations on enjoying another Port Clinton, Ohio Boxing Day. We have a pretty extravagant Boxing Day tradition in San Francisco where on Boxing Day, we take all the boxes that everyone got. We take them to the beach, and at the beach, we meet up with other people who are also celebrating Boxing Day, and we start tying together in whatever way we can our boxes, and we create this gigantic box raft, and we wait in our box raft for the tide to rise, and as the tide rises, the box raft starts to slowly get taken out into the ocean. And of course, it doesn't last too long. By the time we get mostly out into the ocean, it's only we're still kind of hitting the beach a little. The box starts breaking out from under you. So anytime someone's box breaks out from under them, they dive under and then they try to swim out back to the beach. And so our that's been our Boxing Day tradition for, I don't know, it's since.
That sounds incredibly environmentally unfriendly and very anti-San Francisco, I gotta say. Can't believe that they have not outlawed that tradition yet.
Well, it's weird because it's like the thing, sometimes tradition itself kind of takes precedence over the times. Some things don't age well, but in this case, our our Boxing Day tradition might not age well with the environmentalists. I mean, there is probably some sort of like gigantic, box raft out in the ocean right now, but we celebrated yet again in spirit of tradition. And who's not to say that the piece of cardboard that's floating out in the ocean right now is not the tradition of a jellyfish or some sort of barnacle?
I do have to say that Boxing Day is also, it's not all fun and games. I do have some tough memories from Boxing Days past. There's a reason I'm slapping the satchel so hard today, and it's not all fun and games. It's not, getting sloshed while Uncle Cletus gets his ass beat by a kangaroo. My dad let me know one Boxing Day a few years back how disappointed he was that I became a data scientist. He told me, son, you could have been anything. You could have been an economist. You could have been a business analyst. You could have been a statistician. You could have done proper math. But instead, you became a data scientist. And so let's remember that on Boxing Days like these, fun traditions are great, but also people are struggling with family issues.
It's
Yeah,
tough to hear, man.
it's hard to. I could have been a business analyst.
You
A
could,
business analyst, Dad? Really? You wanted me to be a business analyst?
yeah, it's the,
What's he think? He thinks I want to use SPSS all day long? You gotta be
just
kidding me.
the world of Tableau, and
He knows I'm a sass man. Sorry for that derail. We're trying to
it's,
have some Boxing Day fun, but sometimes you're 8, 9 satchels in and stuff just comes out.
yeah, man. Sorry to hear that you're having yeah, memories of business analyst, economist past.
It's okay, I got to watch some rednecks get pummeled today by a kangaroo, so it's all square. We're good.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes Boxing Day has a nice way of working things out on its own. I saw this from Tim. Tim is apparently having his Boxing Day right now, but I saw there were going to be some scuttlebutt updates. Do you have whatever those updates are?
Yeah, Tim sent me an update. For whatever reason, he wrote it in some weird Swiss dialect. So bear with me as I work through this translation of Tim's note. Tim said that he was spending some time updating Scuttlebutt to the latest version over the weekend and stumbled upon some logs. And it looks like there was somebody trying to access the Lawn Pup sign-in page that wasn't one of the team members. And since no one is using Lawn Pup to log in anymore, this was clearly, in Tim's estimation, somebody who didn't realize Lawn Pup got scrapped. Tim believes there is an external person trying to access our systems again. Which, given all the hubbub over the past few weeks and the leaks to the media and Schefter, we think that there's someone from the outside trying to gain access to our code base. That actually could have been the leaker. We're not certain, but there's some clear malfeasance going on based off the logs Tim found.
Well, his update sounds pretty critical. I'm glad at least Scuttlebutt caught something. Do we know, like, anything about IP addresses or who the person, like, where this person might be originating from, like, any other details?
We don't have any digital trace, but there are some clues that we've been considering that have kind of narrowed it down to two potential people, both whom interned for the team. Sam was very interested in learning from Tim and working on Scuttlebutt. And then, do you remember that 10-year-old that tried to intern for us, but decided that he didn't want the gig? he asked me a few questions about Scuttlebutt, and then he did babysit for me because obviously I didn't have an intern, and I had to figure that out on my own. So I had him come over and watch my kids one weekend, and I left my office while I was working on the project, and I came back and he was in the room, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I was just looking for the Go-Go Squeeze pouches. Your kid wants a Go-Go Squeeze pouch. She said she didn't like the ones in the pantry, that the strawberry kind were in your office. Both of those are potential suspects in this case. I personally don't know anybody else outside of those two and Tim that have any interest in Scuttlebutt or what we're trying to do. So, I think the team is thinking one of those two are culprits.
The people who wanted to work for us and turned us down have decided possibly they want to now hurt us, our entry.
Maybe, I mean, the 10-year-old might be trying to steal it and pass it off as his own. Who knows?
Okay.
Or maybe he's just doing it for fun, shits and giggles. Maybe we pissed him off. I don't know. I mean, Sam, I could see, like I said, we're talking about this Cussy metric. Cussy's going to be everywhere in 2 years. If he gets to it first and unveils it next year on Amazon Primecast, maybe he gets a promotion. Maybe he becomes the next Jeff Bezos. Maybe that's his angle. Who knows? So, really, both have solid motives for wanting to gain access to our project early and, create chaos and discord within the team.
Interesting. Well, let's keep an eye out on that, and hopefully it goes away. But that is, I would be interested in knowing who the leak was, particularly if it isn't someone on the team. That would be great. But if it is, then I'd like to take some sort of action. But if it's not, then I would.
Tim said he's working around the clock. Skip Christmas with his family, so we'll get to the bottom of this.
All right, that's a good update for Scuttlebutt. All right, what are we working on this week? We do have 13 days left. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
Okay.
10 days more than we need, I can tell you that much. We're in good spot.
If we are continuing to push the envelope, as long as we're giving ourselves enough time to write it all up, then I think we'll be good. Any blockers this week? There's this completely blank slide, which I'm gonna guess means no blockers, and unless you have any blocker ideas, maybe
we're smooth sailing. We're hitting all cylinders. I mean, other than this little road bump with someone trying to take down our whole project by hacking into Scuttlebutt or hacking into Lawn Pup. Other than that, I think we're good.
Any announcements? Is there any announcements for this week?
I absolutely have to let the people know that even though Christmas has come and gone, start the new year right by slapping that satchel. You can skip dry January this year and get you and your loved one a premium, genuine eye to eye satchel to ring in the New Year's. $49.99 USD, $9.99 Sprite coin. So don't delay. Head to your nearest corner store or highdivide.com and order yourself the High Divide satchel. Don't delay. These will run out. We have a few left from the holiday season. And, if you didn't get that present you wanted this year, consider this a chance to buy you the present you always deserved. Your very own High Divide satchel. So
I just let everyone know I am not a sponsor or primary financer of this product.
Once we narrow down a team name, which we have 13 days left to do, but once we get that name down, That other side of the satchel, we'll get the team name stitched in there. Premium stitching, $5.99. You cannot beat that price. And you too can have a limited edition Idevise satchel.
Wow. True. And speaking of team names, we are, it isn't going to be 13 days. It's going to be 5 minutes. So chat right now has 5 minutes to vote on one of the two names. Nick Wan's Indianapolis Colts or Indianapolis Colts Knicks version. In an unsurprising turn of events, the winner is no one. So that's my boxing. That's exactly what I wanted from Boxing Day. No decision on the thing that we need to decide on. Next week will be our New Year's Day. What's like what do they call it when it's like, you know, there's New Year's Eve, then there's New Year's Day. What's New Year's after day?
Sounds like a pretty just sad day to me in general. If I think about January 2nd, I think about sadness.
But yes, happy Boxing Day to you. I will catch you on the next one.
Happy Boxing Day. I got to get back to this satchel.
Jesus. Okay, happy Boxing Day. Tomorrow, chat, we'll start looking at some of the Big Dateable submissions. You know?
All right.
All right.